Hi friends, today we are going to discuss one of the basic feature used by every developer while programming, and that is breakpoint. So we will check what is breakpoint or how to use breakpoint. I think every developer knows how to use breakpoint, but we will start with some basic knowledge. And there are some additional features related to breakpoint. These are very important ones, something like temporary breakpoint, dependent breakpoint, and export and import breakpoint. So we'll cover that also. So we will start with some basic breakpoint. So we are having some basic program here. So we just added two lines of code, just writing first line and second line. So I will add breakpoint here. Okay, and I will run my program. So we'll cover here with this execution. We will cover first point, what is breakpoint here. I think my PC is somewhat slow. So our execution stop here where I have placed breakpoint. So that is main purpose of breakpoint, and this is what actually breakpoint used for. So at the runtime you have to stop your execution at some point to understand what has happened or what has assigned, what are the stages of each variable, or what is status of program. So I think every developer needs this information while doing programming for development purpose, or if any issue comes. So in case of production support, definitely breakpoint is must have. So this is something like breakpoint, and just we have to add click here, or we can simply add right click here and add breakpoint using this option. Okay, so this is something like what is breakpoint here, and we'll cover first with breakpoint window. So what is breakpoint window? So breakpoint window is it includes all breakpoint related to your project. So this is my so that is in window option, 8 in debug, sorry. So it is part of debug windows and breakpoint, and you will get breakpoint window. So what it is showing, it is showing all breakpoints. So I think these are previous one. I can simply, so what are option involved in breakpoint window? So we'll start with this new is something like we can add breakpoint, we can delete selected breakpoint, something like this, and I can delete this. We can delete all breakpoint, we can disable all breakpoint. Suppose for any purpose you have to disable breakpoint for some execution, but you don't want to delete because in further execution you may require that thing, so you can disable breakpoint for particular interval. Okay, and this is export import, we will cover it in further. And this is something for search you can use. So if you are having large project and you are already placed something 50-60 breakpoints, you can simply search using label or something like that. You can add label and all that things. Okay, so I will simply remove all breakpoints and we will start. So basic breakpoints we have already covered, and we covered what is breakpoint window and how to reach breakpoint window. So what is next point is conditional breakpoint. Okay, so to show conditional breakpoint, I have created some code. I will copy that, and I will explain first what is that code and what is practical scenario where we require conditional breakpoint. So I am adding that code. So I think this is not required, so we can remove these things. Okay, I will minimize it. Okay, so what is this code? So I have one class, I have created one class, and I have created one method add random. It is simply taking one integer, adding some random number between 0 to 10 and returning it. So why I have created this method? So we in practical life or in programming, we are having very dynamic scenario where breakpoint is actually required. So I'm trying to some dynamic scenario. It is not exactly with our programming. We are having very complex scenario, but yeah, little bit dynamic I have created so that we can actually understand what is use case of conditional breakpoint. So this is class. So I have created object of class to use it. Then I have for loop from 0 to 100. Okay, and I am printing, or I will remove it for time being. Okay, and I have for loop between 0 to 100, and I have one temporary variable, though I am not using it, just for showcase purpose I am using it. And as I am assigning value to this temporary integer from add random method. Okay, so we are not sure what will be the value. We do it is something like 0 to 110, because we are having a number here 0 to 99, and maximum we can add 0 to 10, but we are not sure because dynamically our runtime value get assigned. Okay, so that is our scenario. So what is conditional attribute here? So I have to assign breakpoint. Okay, so I will add conditional breakpoint. You can see sign different also. For insert breakpoint it's normal circle, for conditional it's circle inside plus sign. Okay, so what is my condition? So my condition is temp equal greater than 100. So my breakpoint will hit when this temporary value is greater than 100. Okay, so this is my condition. So it will not, breakpoint will not always hit, though it is part of for loop. Okay, we will run to see how it works. I think my machine is slow. Hope it build properly. So this is our third point, conditional breakpoint. Yeah, it started run. Yeah, so, and it stopped, or we reached to our breakpoint. And what is value of I? It is 96. Okay, and yeah, sorry, by mistake I stopped my recording. So we reached our breakpoint, and what is this value of temp is 96. Okay, we'll check once again. Yeah, okay, so what is value of I? So 98. And what is value of temp? Okay, so value of temp is more than 100. That's why this breakpoint got hit. Okay, and that is what our condition is. So we can simply go and check here. So where is my window? Breakpoint. So this is my condition and it executed correctly. So we'll continue this. Okay, so yeah, this is conditional breakpoint. Only thing you need to take care. So previously we were having breakpoint, but it was not causing any failure at runtime, because that was simply breakpoint, and if somehow code comes to that state, it will stop your execution for at that particular breakpoint time. But here in conditional attribute, okay, so we'll cover how to edit breakpoint also. So we'll come to breakpoint window in setting. Yeah, I can click on this condition and it will become editable. Okay, so by mistake, if I made any mistake here, so syntactical mistake, so it should be something like if I have to check for a temp equal to 100, then it should be correct syntax should be temp equal to 100. But by mistake, if I am assigning only temp equal to 100, which is syntactically wrong, so it will not give me error at compile time. It will break our program execution at runtime. So you need to take care if you are using conditional uh, any condition while breakpoint. Okay, yeah, that is something from conditional breakpoint. We are having additional attributes also, something like hit count. So we'll check for hit count. So first I will simply remove this. Okay, and now we are sure that this method is calling 99 times at random, but we have to add breakpoint here, which we have to check, or we have to stop at this breakpoint where hit count or this method get executed at particular count. Means if you are adding 50, means if this method got called for 50 times, then at 15th interval this breakpoint will hit. So we'll check here and close. I will close this and I will run my program. Yeah, so this is input and you can check 49. Okay, so what was my condition? Hit count, yeah, correct. So it started from 0. So when this method hit for 50 interval, this breakpoint got executed. Okay, though this method was called for 0 to 48 value of I, but breakpoint doesn't get hit. So this is additional attribute in attribute added in conditional breakpoint, where you can add breakpoint as per method hit count. Okay, there is additional attribute also, filter. You can use thread ID, thread name. This is something towards like memory or lock, thread lock and all that thing. You can check that thing also, or you can add conditions. Suppose you are working in parallel programming and multiple threads are executing your program, you can add breakpoint for particular thread also. Okay, so we'll not go into that, but that is option. So in conditional breakpoint we are having conditional expression, that is normal expression from your language. Currently we are using C#, so any expression from C# language. Hit count is something number of counts of method get called, and filter is related to thread ID or thread name. We can add filter. Okay, so we'll continue here and we can say we have completed conditional attribute point, conditional attribute point for breakpoint. Okay, what is next is trace one. Okay, so I will remove this once again, and as we already said that what is purpose of breakpoint. So we have to get some value, we have to check what is status of program or application. For that purpose we add breakpoint. Okay, but you have to add breakpoint, you have to add watch, or you have to go to particular variable to check that value. But you don't want to stop your programming, but still you want some logging of particular values, like you want to log temp here. Okay, you want a value of temp at particular interval, but you don't want to stop your execution. So for that purpose it is something like tracing some values or tracing application status. So for that purpose additional breakpoint is created, that is trace point. Okay, what I miss? Okay, insert trace point. Okay, so it is added. So what it is saying, so what trace you have to do? Okay, so I have to trace my temp value. Okay, if yeah, you can see it is intelligence is that much smart that it is providing all the variable from, or all any function also you can call from this text box. Okay, so we have to trace our temp variable. If we simply trace temp variable here, so it will trace for all instance from 0 to 99. So for all for loop we will get temp value in our output window. Okay, so it will be something like we will get 100 values. Okay, if you want that you can take that also, you can check, or you can add any type of log also, but I will add some. So with we can add this with particular condition also. So I want I want to trace value of tab when my I value is more than 90. So I will, how can I do that? So I will first add trace breakpoint, and then I will add some condition. So what is my condition? So my condition is when I is greater than 90. So at a time I have added trace and conditions also. So I think I will get 9 values. Yeah, 9 values in my output window. So let's see. I will simply run my program. First I will go to output window. Yeah, this is my output window. Yeah, and I will run my program. The machine is actually slow, so it should not take that much time. It's simple, just simple for loop from 0 to 99. Think, yeah, sorry, we didn't mention anything on completion part, so that's why we don't understand. So program is executed successfully, but what we have added, we have added some breakpoint, trace breakpoints. So let's go to our output window where it is. I will go to view once again, and yeah, there it is. Okay, you can check values here of 10. Okay, though our execution does not stop, so these breakpoints we can say whether to continue. So there is one option actually by which we can say whether you have to break code or you can continue execution. So that checkbox I have already selected, but mostly I think for trace purpose we will not require to break our code. Okay. But still you want, you can simply uncheck it and stop execution at particular time. Okay, but your trace will be part of your output window. You can trace any information here, and I think that is very much important feature for any developer. Okay, so this covers our trace breakpoints. Now we'll come to temporary. That is very small one, but yeah, important one. Okay, so again I will come to my breakpoint window. Sorry, breakpoint window. I will simply delete all breakpoint. Okay, now suppose this is for loop. Okay, we may have any scenario that some method is calling 5 times 10 times, but I want to check for one time only whether it is getting called or not, and at first instance something like related to statical thing or initial initialization. So you want a breakpoint but at single instance only. So it is something like do method is getting called 5 times 10 times, you just want breakpoint at initial stage. So how we can do that? So I can write add here breakpoint and temporary breakpoint, insert temporary breakpoint. Okay, so what temporary breakpoint does, it when this breakpoint get executed, it get automatically deleted. So we will check here. So I think we forgot to stop our program. Yeah, I will run it again. So it, yeah, so executions uh, come to breakpoint stage when I is equal to 0. Okay, now you can see here breakpoint is already removed. Okay, when we continue it will not stop at this stage because breakpoint is simply removed. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So that is the only thing in temporary breakpoint. So I think again there are different scenario we are having in practically, but I'm just discussing some of the scenario for understanding purpose. So this is something on temporary breakpoint, and one additional feature related to breakpoint is dependent breakpoint. Okay, so again I will add some breakpoint here. Okay, so dependent, first I will explain what is dependent breakpoint. So dependent breakpoint is something dependent on any existing defined breakpoint. So you can decide or you can set if this breakpoint hit, then only consecutive breakpoint should hit. So I will create one scenario here. So okay, I think I had created one condition. Yeah, so this is loop. So we are dividing and checking whether it's divisible or not. Value is divided by 25, and I am adding some simple breakpoint here. Okay, this is my main breakpoint. Now what is dependent breakpoint? So I have to add, or I have to check temporary value when value is divided by 25. Okay, so how to do that? So I can add simple breakpoint here, and I will add insert dependent breakpoint, and I have to provide dependency. So I am dependent on previous breakpoint which is set inside if statement. So I will get list of programs. So this is, you can check, this is my class name, line number 18, that is inside if statement. So if my if statement breakpoint get executed, then only I want to check temp value. So I think it should check for 3 or 4 times, because 0 also divisible by 0. I write some wrong logic here, but that's fine. So simply we just have to check whether how dependent breakpoint will work. Okay, I'm assuming it will come 4 times. Let's see. I'm closing this. Let's make let it be open. Okay, so first time it comes here, come inside if, so a value is 0. Yeah, that was the something wrong formula I have implemented, but that's fine. If it, our main purpose is if our if statement breakpoint got hit, our external temp related breakpoint should hit. So let's see. Yeah, it got hit. Okay, but this is again first iteration of for loop. Let's see further. Okay, yeah, if we have, I think this is 26th iteration, and for 0 to 25 iteration our if statement breakpoint does not hit. That's why our line number 20 breakpoint does not hit, because this is dependent one. Now for 26 iteration our if statement or 18 line number breakpoint got hit, so ideally 20 line number 20 breakpoint should hit. Let's see. Yeah, it's working properly. Yeah, it's done. So what are the values? 0, 25, 50, 75. So these are all divided by 20. It was solving, or it was satisfying these condition. So my if statement executed 4 times. So my 4 time my breakpoint reached to line number 18, and same for 20. So this is how dependent breakpoint works. So that is also very important feature, that if you are working some large project and you want breakpoint, but for particular case, or you are getting that suppose there is one common method and it is getting called from multiple methods or multiple consumer side, and you want to add breakpoint if it is getting called from particular method. So how you can do, you can add breakpoint in main method, and respective breakpoint you can add in common method, consider adding some dependency. So that is some additional feature, and that is very much important. So I think we covered lot whatever all type of breakpoints here. So now we'll go to again breakpoint window, and we will see what are the option available in breakpoint window, and how export and import works. Okay, yeah. So I will close this. I have some breakpoints, so you can check sign also. So this is dependent sign. So I will go to the breakpoint. Okay, this is normal breakpoint. This is conditional breakpoint. This is trace breakpoint. This is temporary breakpoint, and this is dependent breakpoint. So you can simply check sign to understand what type of breakpoint it is. Okay. So again, I came to my breakpoint. This is, I will add some normal breakpoints here. to understand breakpoint window. So yeah, so I have list of breakpoints here. Okay, simply if I have to delete something, I can add new breakpoint here. So any type of breakpoint I can here add here. And if I have to select particular breakpoint for deletion, I can select it. I can simply delete all breakpoints from here. If I click here, it will delete all breakpoint. I can disable it, I can enable it according to my condition. Okay, and this is something we have to check. And what scenario, something like you are working on some project and you have added 100 plus or some large number of breakpoints. Okay, you have some analysis break. Again, adding breakpoint is not something like you are placing breakpoint at any line. Okay, there is some analysis associated with you with each breakpoint, and you add your breakpoints, you done your work, and now you have to shift to another work. Okay, but you don't want to lose your breakpoint, because if you want to shift again back to previous work, okay, for any new development or any issue, okay, you need to analyze once again to place that breakpoint. So for that purpose you want to preserve your breakpoint. So related to some tasks, related to some classes, so according to classes you want to preserve your list of breakpoints. Okay, so how to do that? So I have one functionality here, you can say. Currently we just having single class, so it's hard to prove that how export or import will be beneficial, but you are having 100 plus class and you have added breakpoints for 5-10 class and you have to preserve that. So how to do that? So this list shows all breakpoint from our project. Okay, so suppose I'm working on some functionality, I have added list of breakpoints and I have to preserve it to shift to other work. So I will simply click export here, and this will create XML file. So my breakpoint list for some development. Okay, so I can write any name here. So some development. Okay, I'm saving it to desktop. Okay, save. Okay, now I can simply go and delete all the breakpoints. Yes, I don't need it. Now I shift to other work. I complete my all work, whatever breakpoint related to that story, that is new one. I completed my work, and now again I have to shift to my original work, and I want all my breakpoints in place. So how to do that? I will simply come to breakpoint window. I have option of import here. I will import my breakpoint list. Open. Yes, that's it, and we got all breakpoint listed here. So this is very important feature for every developer. And yeah, I think that's it from breakpoint side. We covered almost every feature in detail. If you still have any doubt, you can simply add comment, or for any suggestion still you can add any comment. You, we will try to improve on our part. Thank you, thanks for listening.